So, this is not the video that I had intended to make today. All these chests here, all this lava, the little lava farm in the back, the excessively complicated smelting system that is honestly way too slow. This is not what I had intended to do. What I intended to do was build Claydol. The last time we were here, I built Inkay. And Inkay has been great. He got me all the ink that I could have possibly needed for the next build. But as it turns out, 104,000 terracotta takes a long time to make at the farm. Now, it wouldn't be too bad if we had the auto crafter. The problem that I'm running into is that I cannot AFK at this farm for too long because this ends up filling up too fast. And honestly, so does this. Basically, the clay farm is so efficient that I can't run it without it emptying itself and kind of crashing. Now, don't get me wrong, that we do have this little light above my head here that is a safety light. Basically, when the machine runs out of shulkers here, it turns itself off, and I guess I could just do that. I kind of just realized that just now. I guess there's no harm in doing it that way, but I would much rather not. I'd rather have it auto-craft, and instead of end up with clay balls like we get in these shulkers, if we got clay. Now the problem is I can't do that until the next update. So I've been slowly but surely gathering all the terracotta that I could possibly need. And in fact, let me show you real quick. I've actually got the majority of it. I think I've actually got right up until, yeah, these last 6 are not done. And that's just because they're still smelting. I've got 4 chests worth. Okay, so maybe I need a little bit more. But yeah, 104,000 blocks takes a long time. So instead, we're going to do something a little different. Also, I haven't introduced myself. Hello, everybody. I am the Goofy Geek, and I'm here with another episode of building every single Pokemon in Minecraft. So then I guess the question is, if we're not building the Pokemon that requires 104,000 terracotta, what are we doing? Pokemon Legends Z to A has been announced, and I thought we would talk about that. So first and foremost, what is Pokemon Legends Z to A? Well, about 10 years ago, we got Pokemon X and Pokemon Y, and they were a lot of fun. They were the first time Pokemon went really 3D for the mainline games, not counting, Colosseum and whatnot. And we went to the Kalos region. It was based on France. It was very cool. And it was Pokemon X and Pokemon Y. So, of course, everyone's expecting Pokemon Z to follow that. And it was supposed to, but it never did. And that was disappointing for a lot of fans. And it was especially disappointing for me. Pokemon X and Y is one of my favorite regions. Largely because it's the first region where I ever got all the Pokemon. Yes, that's right. My Pokemon Y version has a living dex in the box, which means I had one of every single Pokemon, including all of the Vivian types, which if you know anything about Vivian, you know there's a lot of them. That Pokemon put me through a lot, but also, I love it. Now, a few years ago, we got Pokemon Legends Arceus. Legends Arceus is a new thing that they're doing in the mainline games, where basically they put a heavy focus on something. We don't really know because there's only been one, and in that one they focused on the god of Pokemon. So clearly, something legendary. So odds are the Pokemon Legends games are going to focus on specific legendary Pokemon. In Pokemon X, Y, and Z, we had Xerneas. I still don't know how to pronounce this. I know it's not Yveltal. Yveltal, I think is how you're supposed to say it. I always call it Yveltal because of a different YouTuber. But we had the X Pokemon and the Y Pokemon. And then, of course, there's the Z Pokemon, Zygarde. Zygarde got the short end of the stick in the X and Y games because he was supposed to be focused in Pokemon Z. But since Pokemon Z never happened, he just kind of ended up somehow in the Sun and Moon games, which was a little confusing, and I never really quite understood I don't even think I ever did that part, to be entirely honest, because I think that's from Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, which is the only Pokemon games I've never finished. It's just too similar to Sun and Moon for me. Maybe I'll go back to it. Hey, maybe I'll go back to it for the channel. Who knows? So with Pokemon Legends now being a mainline game and something that we're going to get often, and Pokemon Z never having happened, apparently Pokemon decided to focus with their second Legends game on Zygarde. At least I hope that's where it's going. It's got a big green Z in the title, and Zygarde is the Z-looking Pokemon that starts with the letter Z, so it's a pretty safe bet it's going to focus on him. But yeah, he never really got to be the focus of a Pokemon game. Well, apparently, they've decided to fix that with Legends Z to A. But what is Pokemon Legends Z to A? Well, we don't really know. We got this really cool trailer that definitely tried to trick us into thinking we were getting black and white remakes. But it focuses heavily on Lumio City and some sort of redevelopment, which means the game's going to either take place in modern times and focus on the fact that they're upgrading Lumio City, or, like with Legends Arceus, it's going to be set in the past, specifically around the time that Lumio City became as big and grand and beautiful as it is. For those who don't know, Lumio City is based on Paris, at least it has a Eiffel Tower, well, the Prism Tower. And overall, the entire region is based on France, so it makes sense that the big city is based on Paris. But that's all they really showed us in the trailer. They just confirmed where the game is taking place, the fact that it's called Pokemon Z to A. Oh yeah, and we got confirmation that Mega Evolution is coming back. I am a big fan of Mega Evolution. It's my favorite gimmick from Pokemon, and actually it's the reason that Blastoise became one of my favorites. I really like Blastoise with one big cannon instead of two. It makes him look like a tank, and I think that looks way cooler. So yeah, Pokemon Legends Z to A is something I'm very excited for, due to Pokemon Y being one of my favorites. Plus, Pokemon X and Y was also the first time you could do character customization, and I always thought that was pretty neat. That's the only thing we really know about Pokemon Legends Z to A, but there are some things that we can make educated guesses about. For example, in Pokemon Legends Arceus, we got a whole different set of starters despite being in the Sinnoh region. That leads me to believe they're probably going to do the same thing with Pokemon Legends Z to A. I do have my theories as to what starters they're going to let us pick from this time. I do think Empoleon, due to Napoleon being in the name, and, it's our French region. I think that he seems like a natural fit. I think that Serperior also fits in very well, as he is also French-themed, kind of. At least he seems very fancy. As for what Fire-type Pokemon they pick, it could be a couple different options. Personally, I'm hoping to see Cinderace return, given that I believe France has won the World Cup of football. I actually don't follow soccer, but I'm pretty sure they've won it a couple times. So that's neat. And I think that the three of them would make a good trio, and it would also be cool to see them Mega Evolve. But I'll tell you right now, I don't want to meet a Cinderace with Limber, who can also Mega Evolve, because he would change his type based on his attack, and that would get a little crazy. Although if he Mega Evolved, he might lose that ability. We'd have to see what happens. But I think those three seem to make a natural trio for the starter set. Well, they could bring in any other starters. I think that those three kind of have just the right vibe for Kalos, and I think that they just would work very well. The other thing that seems to be happening is the entire game appears to all take place in one city. This is something that I am so excited for. I love open world games, but a lot of times open world games, unfortunately, are just kind of empty. I don't know how else to describe it. There's a lot of things that you could be doing, and a lot of places that you can go, but a lot of your gameplay is just kind of traveling. Like in Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, a lot of that game is just traveling, but honestly, with all the different crazy things that are in that game, traveling is half the fun. But like with Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, what are you doing? You're riding around on a Pokemon, which is great, don't get me wrong, but it's a lot of running to different destinations with a lot of empty space in between. Whereas in a city, There's all kinds of things that you could find, discover. They're going to actually have to populate a Pokemon city for once and not just say like, hey, there's 10 people here. That counts, right? And in fact, I just checked Bulbapedia. I said 8 people as a joke. Yeah, that's the actual population of Pallet Town. They call that a town in Pokemon. Now, if you go to the most populated towns, Lumio City is the most populous with 416 people, and that's awesome. But I want to see them do more. And being in a city means that we get to see all kinds of people doing all kinds of things. I'm sure that they're going to get deep into the history of Lumio City. They could explain that weird ghost girl that can apparently haunt you that I've seen memes about. Because I remember that was creepy and it never really got explained, so I'd love to see them delve into that. But not even just like mentioning it, give us a full storyline. Like there's all sorts of things that they can do in this city. Look at the map. They've got 5 different, like, what are these, biomes? Like there's all sorts of things that could be happening in this game. Even though you don't get to explore like a full region, I think there's going to be enough to do in the city to keep everybody happy. Plus, one of my favorite open world games is Arkham City, and there's plenty to do in that city. Yes, you could, scale buildings, so it makes it a little more interesting. But I do think that there's going to be plenty to do in the city, despite you not being able to travel the rest of the Kalos region. Although I really do want to know what's in this power plant. Like, look at this power plant. It's so cool. I want to know what's in there. Who knows? Maybe we'll get to take a field trip. And unfortunately, that's kind of really it. That's all we really know about Pokemon Legends Z to A. Oh yeah, by the way, Z to A? What's the A? What could that possibly be? I really want to know what the A is for. Does it have something to do with this random ancient king that kind of shows up at the end of X and Y to challenge you for a Pokemon battle? Is there maybe a new legendary based on the letter A? Maybe Zygarde isn't the trio master of the XYZ group. Maybe he's just another member and we're going to get somebody above that. And what better Pokemon than a legendary starting with the letter A? Plus, looking at the A in the symbol, it does kind of have like a leaf pattern to it. And grass is stronger against ground, and Zygarde is ground, so it would be a formidable typing for Zygarde to face off against. There's all sorts of things that they could be doing, and I'm excited for it. Oh yeah, speaking of things that they could be doing, Mega Evolution. I'm so excited that we're getting Mega Evolution back. Like I said before, it's one of my favorite gimmicks, and I can't wait to see what Pokemon they Mega Evolve. Especially because none of the Kalos Pokemon actually Mega Evolve, because they were using the gimmick to try to enhance older Pokemon that hadn't really gotten an opportunity to shine in a while, and then also Charizard. But there's some Pokemon from X and Y who I think could use a boost. Aromatisse and Slurpuff, they're neat and all. Well, one of them is. But they could be so much more. And who knows, if they give Aromatisse a cool Mega Evolution, maybe somebody will use it for the first time. I'm also hoping for new Pokemon. I'm not holding my breath. I think it would be cool. And I mentioned the 3 starters before that I think could potentially be in the game. I think it would be really neat if they all got Megas, because yes please, a Mega Empoleon, I want to know what that looks like. I think that would be cool. And Mega Superior, who knows, maybe he'll get his legs back. No, don't do that. That would be creepy. The only other bit of speculation that I've seen elsewhere online about Pokemon Legends Z to A, God, that's a mouthful, is that the A kind of looks like the weapon from Pokemon's history that got fired at some point in time and either started or ended a war. I think it ended the war. It kind of looks like that. Maybe that has something to do with the legendary I mentioned. Maybe it's something completely different. Who knows? But yeah, that's all we really know about Pokemon Legends Z to A. I can't wait to find out more. I'm anxious for more. I want to know if they're going to give us any new Pokemon, or if it's all just going to be, a revisit to Kalos. I can't wait. There's so many different things that they can do in the storyline, especially because it won't focus on gyms. It's going to be a Pokemon game set in either modern or semi-modern times. Modern enough that, like, you're in a city. I can't wait to see a modern Pokemon game that doesn't focus on gyms or trials. I know we had Sun and Moon, but something new, something different, something fresh. The other thing I'm curious is how far are they going to deviate from the Legends Arceus format? Are we going to get the same 2 different combat styles that we got in Arceus? Are they going to do something completely different? Is the catching mechanics going to be the same? I feel like no, because we're in a city. I feel like it's got to be something completely different and new. Whatever they end up doing, it'll certainly set the expectations for future Legends games, because it's either going to be a continuation and then we kind of have an idea of what to expect, or it'll be something completely different, which I'm all for. I'm excited to see whatever they end up doing for Pokemon Legends Z to A. Now, admittedly, because I've been working on the Claydol thing, I don't have a lot of time to build a Pokemon this week, but in honor of the fact that we're getting something related to Zygarde, I thought I would make something related to Zygarde. Let's go. So I'm sure if you don't know, you're probably wondering, what is this thing that I have made? And why does it look like a sad, squished, green potato? Basically, the lore behind Zygarde is that he's made of 100 of these little guys. Well, sort of. This is a Zygarde cell, and then as you activate his other forms, there's the Zygarde core, which is this little guy here with the little red on the chest. There's the 10% form, which is the dog. The 50% form, which is the one I've been showing off as Zygarde. That's kind of the Z-shaped one. And then he has a 100% form, which looks insane. Zygarde is a weird Pokemon. I can't wait to actually get to know his story, or at least that's what I'm hoping we get to know, because otherwise, it's just really weird. But yeah, that's the Zygarde cell, made out of excitement for what is effectively Pokemon Z. While working on that, I did manage to get together all the resources I need to put a Pokemon around the clay farm, finally. And, assuming that the cold that I can feel starting to come on doesn't debilitate me too much, it should be what happens in the next video. So be ready for that, as that is gonna be big. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, maybe share, maybe subscribe, and I'll be seeing you guys in the next one. Bye!